Hi friends, this is Tanu from Aussie's Clayton. I hope you guys are doing good, and today we will be discussing all the important tasks and questions about PTE. So if you've got any query, any question about any of the modules of PTE, you're more than welcome to ask as many questions as you have, and we'll be happy to answer them all today. So guys, to begin with, we will be sharing some exciting news also. So first of all, there were 5 students who achieved their desired scores this week. So it's been an incredible week for Aussie's Clayton because we've got many students who achieved their permanent residencies, many students who achieved their desired scores, many students who have achieved their EOIs and whatnot this week. So it's been a very good week, and I hope the coming new year will be the same for us. So guys, to begin with, we will be firstly talking about the speaking section of PTE, the most important section of the exam and the most easy section too. So to begin with, when you go for the exam, you have to have few things in your mind. The first and foremost important thing is that you have to be very, very confident. You have to think it is a very, very easy exam which can help you achieve 20 points, which can help you get 20 points for your permanent residency, and that's not less. Second thing you have to have in mind is that when you go for the exam, the first thing you come across is you need to check the microphone, that whether it is working or it is not working. Some people, they don't check the microphone, and when they start their test, something goes wrong and they struggle to get their desired scores. So guys, if you experience any problem related to microphone, any problem related to the system, it is very, very important you need to notify the staff ASAP. Once you've made that complaint and it is registered, you can always ask them to reschedule your exam, because that has somewhere hampered your performance. So if you are struggling with any of the issue with the system, technical issue, please notify the staff. Now to begin with, we will say that it is very important to know the position of the microphone. We've discussed in one of our previous sessions also about the position of the microphone. So to anyone who's still confused about the position of the microphone, I would be telling you guys how to place and where to place the mic. So these are the same headphones as you will be getting in your exam. So it is very, very important you have to, the place of the mic has to be on the right position. So to those who've got a very thick voice and they speak loud enough, it is okay to put it close to your chin, parallel to perpendicular to your chin. But to those, especially girls who've got a very shrieky voice, thin voice, you have to put it up here above your lips and close to your nose. Make sure it is not in front of your lips, guys, because when you speak anything, the air from your mouth will go into the microphone, which is not good, which can affect your pronunciation and your oral fluency too. So make sure it is not in front of your lips and it is not under your nostrils too. It is close to the tip of your nose or it is close to the tip of your chin. So make sure you don't touch the microphone over and over again. Every time you move, every time you touch, it is not very good. It will affect your performance in the speaking section. So guys, be careful about the position of the microphone. A lot of people who are, especially to the first time test takers, this is very, very important to know where to put the mic. And sometimes girls come and they ask that, can they put a hand like this? You can put a hand like this if nobody's got any problem with it. But if supervisor comes and tells you not to put your hand, don't be taken aback. Just put the mic on the right position and try to focus on what you actually see. You will be sitting in a room full of people and everyone will be speaking at the same time. So you might get distracted. For the first time test takers, I'm saying, you might get distracted, but you should not get distracted. Just be very focused on your screen and try not to listen to what others are saying and doing. So guys, moving on to the first section, first question of PTE. It is called read aloud, a very, very important and a very high weightage task. So in this task, you will see a text and you have to read that text aloud in the microphone. The key instruction says that you have to read the text aloud. Now there's a very fine line between being aloud and being actually shout. So please don't shout, as you have to be very careful that people around you are also attempting and giving the same exam as you are. So the same way you have to be not distracted and they are not distracted too. So please make sure you don't shout. Rather just be loud and naturally. So that means there should be no fake accent and you have to speak very, very naturally, clearly. Now, this task is an integrated task. That means the scores are going towards reading and towards speaking, because you will be reading and you will be speaking at the same time. I believe this is one of the most easiest tasks of PTE and quite scoring, because we've been reading since we were in nursery, right? Or prep, I would say. So reading is one thing that can get you more than 40 marks out of 360 in PTE. So guys, this is a very, very easy task. Number of questions you can get is between 6 to 7. And in all the questions, you get some preparation time before you actually speak aloud. So before the preparation time varies between 25 to 40 seconds depending on the length of the text. So if the text is really, really small, you might get 25 seconds and good intonation as well. So I have a sample of a read aloud here in front of me, which is one of the most repeated read aloud from last few weeks, and I would like to read it so that you can see how fluent one can be and how fluent one actually should be with the right fluency. Next question. So guys, as I said that you have to be very careful about these parameters of speaking. Okay, I hope this part was clear enough, because it is giving you 40 marks, more than 40 marks out of 360 for your PTE exam. And let's see if we've got any questions or queries. Some people sometimes get taken aback when I don't answer their questions. Sometimes guys, the internet is slow or something goes wrong. If you have any questions and I'm not answering, I'll be replying to all the comments. So you can post your question and I'll be more than happy to answer them all. Moving forward to the second question of PTE, it is called repeat sentences. And this again is a very, very high weightage task. So guys, this is the second question. The number of questions you can experience is between 8 to 10. And it is again an integrated task of PTE. The marks are going towards your listening and towards your speaking. A very high weightage task can get you more than 50 marks out of 360. So read aloud and repeat sentences put together, they have 90 marks out of 360, which is quite a lot. And guys, believe me, this is one task where most of the people struggle. So if you are lagging behind in listening or speaking, this is the task you need to work on. And there are no certain strategies to, ace this task apart from practice. This task requires bulk practice and you have to practice for, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes every day if you struggle with this task. Guys, in this task, what happens is you will listen to a sentence and you have to repeat exactly the same sentence. Now, you can always divide the sentence into 2 or 3 phrases and try practicing like that, or you can write initials of each word being said in the sentence. So that when you repeat it, you don't miss out any word. And trust me that writing initial part is little bit hard, but if you practice 1 week, 20 minutes every day, which is not a lot, you will be fine with this task. And also we have a similar task called write from dictation, which is a part of your listening. So guys, that task and repeat sentences is quite similar. So if you practice repeat sentences, you are automatically practicing write from dictation and vice versa. So be careful when you practice this task, because that write from dictation again is a very, very high weightage task. Moving on to the third question, which is our describe image from speaking. So guys, this is the only task of speaking which is not integrated. That means it relies on how we speak and not what we speak. I'm not saying content does not matter. Okay, so please don't get confused with that part. Content matters, but not to that extent. So the thing which matters the most is your fluency, your pronunciation, your intonation, and then comes the content. They are not asking you to describe the technicalities, to describe the details of the image. All they are asking you is that you have to describe the image. And some people, they do ask me that, do we actually need to speak for full 40 seconds? I would say no, you don't have to speak for full 40 seconds, because when you read the instructions clearly says that you have to describe the image within 40 seconds. They are not forcing you or telling you to speak for full 40 seconds. It is within 40 seconds. So anywhere between 25 to 40 seconds is good, but try not to speak less than 25 seconds. Close to 30 seconds is a good mark. So if you are trying and you are struggling with this task, be very careful, because content is not very important. Okay, so even if you should be, sometimes templates do help you to speak very fluently. And to all my students, whoever is coming to Aussie's Clayton, we give special templates which are very easy to remember, and you can describe any image in the world. You get anything, you will be able to describe it very easily and effectively. Guys, moving on to the fourth question of speaking, which is called retell lecture. Before we do that, let's see if we've got any questions. So I would say retell lecture is again a very important task, not a very high weighted, but quite moderate weighted task. So it's the integrated task of listening and of speaking. It is a very important task in terms of listening. So guys, if you're struggling with listening, we've got a question from Muhammad Omar. Hi Omar, thanks for asking the question, and he's asking how to write summarized written text. I'll be answering that question very shortly. Let me finish with speaking and then we'll go on to writing, and I'll be answering that question. So if you have any other question about speaking section, please post it now so that I can answer all your questions, guys. Okay. So moving on to retell lecture, this is a very important task in terms of your listening, guys. So if you are missing out your listening score just by a few marks, I would say 1, 2 or 3 marks, maybe this is the task where you need to work on. So in this task, you will listen to a lecture or an audio, or you can see a video, or you can have an audio with the image, and you have to retell what you actually heard. Now retell means same thing. You have to tell the exactly same thing what you heard in the audio. Okay, there are no hidden agendas. You cannot use your own imagination. It should not be a fictitious one. You have to tell what you actually heard, what was actually being said in the audio. The more similar words, the more similar sentences you can speak, the better marks you will be getting. And this task is very important. I'm repeating my words. This task is very important in terms of listening. You are covered for your speaking. Why? Because you are covering your fluency, you are working on your pronunciation, intonation. What about the content? Content is getting you marks for your listening, which is the more similar words, the better notes you take. It's gonna help you way more than any other task to get your listening scores. So for this task, the best strategy is to take good notes. By taking notes, I would mean that sometimes what happens is when we get a notepad and pen in the paper, when we take notes, we write so fast that we are not able to understand our own handwriting. And lots of my students, when we do the task in the class, they experience the same problem. So I always tell them, note little bit less, but write your notes neatly so that you can read them later on. There are too many templates you can use for this task, because it is a very easy task if you use the template. Okay, so what you have to basically do is you have to take down the keywords or maybe some sentences, short ones, long ones. It totally depends on the capacity of how fast you can write, how many notes you have got. So you put those words into the template and you will be good to go. So sometimes students ask me, ma'am, the templates are very complex. You don't generally use very complex templates for this task. So easy templates. Firstly, the lecture was about. Secondly, the speaker stated. Thirdly, the speaker explained. So, just small sentences with more content from the lecture can actually get you good scores for both listening and for speaking too. Moving on to the last section of speaking. It is called answer short questions. Number of questions you get is between 10 to 12. And this is not very high weightage task, guys. But it is again an integrated task. That means the marks are going towards your listening, because you listen to a question and you answer, and speaking as well. So as I said, it is not a very high weightage task. That doesn't mean that you should not attempt. So whatever you say, whether it is a right answer or wrong answer, remember, it's a system, it's a software which is giving you marks, so you have to act smart. Just answer the question, even if you don't know the answer. That might help you, but make sure you answer. You are not quiet. And guys, for any task of speaking, be it read aloud, describe image, retell lecture, or answer short questions, the moment you finish speaking, make sure you click next so that you can go on to the next question, because any pause you give is considered unnecessary pause, which will heavily affect your scores, and we don't want that. So speaking, the moral of the story of speaking is that you have to be very fluent. Number one, your oral fluency matters the most. Second is your pronunciation, which is again very, very important. Third is your intonation, the pace, the speed, you stress on few words, all that. And your content too. All the integrated tasks, content does matter. So please don't rely on unnecessary information. Some people say in speaking content does not matter. It does matter, but you have to know, you should have that knowledge that in which task content matters and to what extent it matters. Moving on to the next module of PTE, it is called writing module. So guys, in writing you have only two types of questions. First is called summarize written text, and second is called essay. For the summarized written text, you will see a text, maybe 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, or just one big paragraph, and you have to write a summary. Now the key instruction says the summary should have only one sentence. So you have to write a summary using only one sentence. That means only one full stop should be there. And the second instruction says you have to write between 5 to 75 words. So anywhere between 5 to 75 words is acceptable. Make sure you do not exceed the word count, because that is breach of guidelines, which will again affect your scores. Now in this task, as I said, you have to write one sentence. A lot of students, they ask me, how is it possible to comprehend 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs into one sentence? There is a very, very easy strategy. You can do that. Now when you read the passage, the first thing to write a summary we need is the main idea of the passage, what the passage actually is about. Once you get that main idea, be it a sentence, be it few words, you have to write one sentence. So if you think that a paragraph or a text has got few sentences which are very, very important, you can always use those 2 or 3 sentences. You can change few words and you can write a very good summary. But try not to include the examples, the unnecessary information. A text would of course be long, but you cannot include everything in the summary. Summary is basically the abstract of something. So it will have and it should have important ideas, not everything. So if you think 2 sentences or 3 sentences are very, very important, you should put them together. Try to write a complex sentence or even simple sentence, but make sure you write only one sentence. You can join multiple sentences with different connectors. You can rephrase your sentence and write a very good summary. And believe me, once you do that, you will see a change in your scores. Sometimes people do ask that, can we actually use the same words that are being in the text? Of course you can use the similar words, because you are summarizing. You cannot change the main idea of the passage and you cannot put your words into it. So you can copy and paste few words, few sentences, even putting, making sure that you're comprehending and you're collecting the correct information, the main idea, the general idea, not something specific. Try and avoid examples and detailed things about the text. Number of questions for summarize, you can get up to 3 summaries, and it is an integrated task. That means the marks are going towards your reading and towards your writing as well. So guys, reading and writing, 2 things. and it is a very important very important task in terms of your essay or in terms of your reading also. We've got a question from Ricky. Hi Ricky, thanks for asking the question, and he's asking, ma'am, is backspace affect our marks in writing? I'll be coming on that, Ricky, very soon. Let me finish with the summaries. So guys, 3 questions max. You could possibly get 3 combinations. You can have 3 summaries and 1 essay. You can have 2 summaries and 2 essays, or you can have 2 summaries and 1 essay. So 2 summaries, 2 essays is a very good combination, because essay is not an integrated task, whereas summary is an integrated task. So that means if you make a mistake in summary, your reading and writing both are affected. Whereas if you make a mistake in essay, your writing is affected only. So Ricky is asking, backspace affect our marks in writing? Ricky, backspace does affect your marks in your spellings, but not in your writing. But try to avoid that backspace key. Even if you've made a mistake and you want to correct yourself, every time you press backspace, it will affect your spell score. We want to see a perfect scorecard, so having 90 all would be very, very good. So in order to get that, try and avoid backspace. You can always select the mistake and or the word you want to correct or the sentence you want to correct and overwrite it. Or you can just use the command cut that word and rewrite it. I hope I've answered your question. And moving on to the next question, which is essay. So essay, the guidelines are, you have to write an essay in 20 minutes. The word count should be between 200 to 300 words. Now the biggest misconception a lot of students have is that if they write 280 or 290 words, they will get more marks. But that's not the case, guys. Even if you write 201 or 202 words, that can get you a perfect score. You don't have to worry about words. It is more about what you have written and how you have written. So writing is basically how you write things. What is that how? That how is your grammar. How well you've used your tenses, how well you've used your punctuation. That how is made up of your spellings. That if your spellings are incorrect or correct. So try and avoid spelling mistakes. When we are typing, we make a lot of typo errors which will not be corrected there because we don't have any autocorrect there. So be very careful that after you finish writing, you have at least 2 minutes to proofread, to revise what you have actually written. Because once you do that, your essay will be mistake free. And that's what we want. Because it is an integrated task, the marks are directly going towards your writing score. So guys, any topic you get, if you have a template, if you are following a template, make sure your template has correct grammar and you are using it correctly. I know a lot of students, they memorize the templates, but they actually don't know how to use those templates. Because when you put your words into the template, it becomes grammatically incorrect. So guys, get the right feedback before you actually follow a template. If you are following a template, it is very important to get the right feedback by writing few essays and getting them checked from whosoever you're taking coaching from. Because please, I'm saying again and again that a lot of students, they make their words, they make their sentences grammatically incorrect when they add words to their templates. And guys, the most frequent topic which is coming these days is called, about the essay, it is parents should be held legally responsible for their children's act. So if anyone of you who's got their exam coming up, please make sure you practice this topic before you actually go for your exam. And there's another one which is a balance between work and life. So these two are the most important topics which are coming very, very often these days. So if you've got your exam around the corner, make sure you practice these two tasks. Okay, moving on to the third section or third module of PT. It is called reading. It is a very, very important task, and some students who are grammatically a little bit weak, who are not sure about the grammar rules, they make a lot of mistakes in this section. But guys, it is not just the grammar which will get you reading scores. Remember, read aloud, where you simply read, is also getting you scores for reading. Summarized written text is also getting you scores for reading. Now the reading, it starts with MCQs, multiple or single. The order of the questions can be random. Sometimes you get multiple answers as a first question. Sometimes you get single answers as a first question. So whatever you get, don't panic, because multiple choice is a low weightage task. You don't have to worry much about that task, and you don't have to waste too much of time on that task. Just go through the passage and select the right answer. If you cannot, make sure you select an answer and go on to the next question, because that's the task which is not very heavy weightage. Now MCQ multiple answers, they do have negative marking. So if you're not sure about the second option, please don't select one option, move on to the next question. Every time you select a wrong answer, incorrect answer, you will get a -1. And if you have not selected the incorrect answer, you don't get any minus. And we've got a question from Day. Hi Day, thanks for asking. And he's asking how to prepare for reading blanks. So next question would be drag and drop. It is fill in the blanks, and you have some options written at the bottom of the screen, and you have to drag the right option to the blank. Now to answer this question also, and the strategy of doing fill in the blanks is grammar. If you know the grammar rules, number 1, and you know the collocation, number 2. So these two things can help you do any fill in the blank. Okay. You have to go through the collocation list, which is on Pearson's website. So if you type Pearson collocation list, you will come across a collocation list. Basically, what are collocations? Collocations are group of words that are used frequently together. For no rhyme or reasons, we use them together. For example, we say, I like to eat junk food. So junk food, what is the synonym of junk? Trash. But we never say, I like to eat trash food. We always say, I like to eat junk food. And for example, we say, I need a cup of strong coffee. Strong is powerful, but we never say, I need a cup of powerful coffee. So, you know that strong coffee, junk food, these are few words. These are just few examples. And there's around 2,500 collocations if you go on. And I know it's very hard to remember, recall all. But going through them, quite a few times can give you a vast idea that how few words and what words are used together. And trust me, when you go through that list and practice fill in the blanks, you will see the improvement. The second important thing is grammar rule. There are few grammar rules which are quite helpful to do fill in the blanks. You should know where in sentence adjective has to come or adverb has to come, or where verb is being used. Where do we put ing? We will not be talking too much of detail about the grammar rules today. Hopefully in the next session we cover that. But if you go online and search for frequent grammar rules for fill in the blanks or some important grammar rules for writing, you will come across lots of rules. And trust me, they really help you. You should know where to use ing, where do you use ed. So all those little things can get you a perfect score in your fill in the blanks. And fill in the blanks, when I talk about fill in the blanks, I'm not talking about only drag and drop. We've got another task called reading and writing fill in the blanks, which contribute too much towards your writing and towards your reading score. It's got more than 40 marks. It is not drag and drop, but it is reading and writing. So put together, they have more than 60 marks. So fill in the blanks, yes, I know a lot of students do struggle, but if you go through grammar rules, mark my words, you will see improvement. And coming on to the next question, which is multiple choice, single answers. Again, a very low weightage task, so we don't worry much about it. And the last question of reading is called reorder paragraphs. Guys, reorder paragraph is the most time consuming task of reading module, because in this we get jumbled up sentences and we have to put them in the right order. This task requires lot of time, so try and save your time from MCQs and utilize it on reorder paragraphs. The strategy to do reorder paragraphs is that you have to know that what sentence can be put on the first as a first option. It is very easy to figure out the first sentence because all we have to look for is a general sentence, not a very specific sentence. So we look for the first sentence which is independent and which is giving you idea about the topic, about introduction about something. So any sentence with he, she, it, that, they cannot be considered as a first sentence because it is a dependent sentence. We don't know who he is, we don't know what this is, we don't know what that is. So any sentence which has got pronouns should be avoided as a first sentence. And the moment we get to know the first sentence, we should always underline the similar words between the sentences to form the right pairs, because you only get marks when you have put answers as correct pairs. You don't get any marks if you don't have any right pairs. For example, if answer to something is A, B, C, D, the correct pairs are A, B, B, C, C, D, not A and D. If you put A and D as a right option, you don't get any marks, because it has to be the correct pair which will get you marks. And another rule to do this task is you should know that a sentence is made up of subject plus verb plus object. So the object of the first sentence many times will become the subject of the next sentence. Could be the similar word, but most of the times it's going to be synonymous words. For example, she was suffering from fever. First sentence. Her illness. Due to her illness, she was not able to go for the exam. So what is fever? Fever is illness, which they have used as the subject of the next sentence. So the object of the first became the subject of the next sentence. So this is how you relate, or you underline the common words between the sentences and try to form the link. I hope all the strategies for reorder paragraph can help you to solve them. And we've got a question from Archie. Hi Archie, thanks for asking. Are reading MCQs are high weighted? No Archie, reading MCQs, they don't carry too many marks, but everything is important. So I would not say to take them lightly, but they are a low weightage task. Try not to skip them, at least attempt them. And we've got another question. And what about listening highlight correct summary? We'll be coming to that when we talk about the listening section. And she's also asking, please let me know about listening highlight correct summary. I'll be talking about it, Archie, as we move on to the listening section. I hope there are no more reading questions. And I hope I've answered your question related to reading, Archie. Okay guys, so moving on to the last section of PTE, and the most important, most time consuming, and it has got maximum number of questions. It is listening task. It out of 20 questions, 20 different question types, listening itself has got 8 different types of questions. It starts with the first question, which is called summarize spoken text, and in this task you will listen to an audio and you have to write a summary. So you're listening and you are writing. That means it is an integrated task of listening and of writing as well. It carries more marks than your essays. So if you are taking it lightly, please don't do that, because sometimes you are not getting your desired scores in writing because of this task. A lot of people, they take essays very seriously, but they ignore this task at the same time. But guys, I'm telling you over and over again, they both go hand in hand. So if you are struggling in writing, this is the task you need to look on. Moving on to this task, you have to write a summary using 50 to 70 words. Now the guidelines are very, very important. You cannot reach them. There should be no less than 50, no more than 70 words. And you get 10 minutes to do the task. That means it is the 10 minutes mean 10 minutes. Once those 10 minutes are over, you won't be, whatever you write will not be counted. And that 10 minutes is including the audio time. So if the audio is 1 minute, you have remaining 9 minutes to write and to revise as well. Any spelling errors you make, any grammatical mistake you make, any punctuation error you make, everything is counted, because this is an integrated task. So writing is what you write, and listening, which is again your content. So be very careful when you're doing this task. You can get up to 3 summaries. The second question, again, I would say that to do this task, try to have good notes also, because this is not retell lecture, guys. Don't confuse yourself with retell lecture, because here you're not retelling. You have to summarize that retell and write it. So try to take good notes. When you have good notes, you can always put them in the right summary. And you can use a template, but make sure template should not include unnecessary words. Template should be short and to the point, so that you can include more content, which will give you better marks for your listening and towards your writing as well. And the next question of your listening is MCQs, multiple or could be single. Again, the multiple ones, they have negative marking. You will listen to an audio, you have 4 or 5 options. You select your answer and go on to the next question. Please make sure you don't use too much of time on them. Again, they are very low weightage tasks. So if you are, a lot of people, they do struggle with time in listening. So please make sure the moment the audio finish, you should be ready with your answer, select your answer and go on to the next question. The next question of listening module could be highlight correct summary, where you will listen to an audio and you have 4 or 3 or maybe 5 options and you have to select the most appropriate summary. Now, as I said before, the summary means the abstract of something. So it should have general idea. Many times what happens is 2 options will be very close to each other because they would look similar and they would look complete. Few words or few sentences could be exactly the same as they are said in the audio. Any answer or any option which is exactly the same most of the times is not the right answer because it is reflecting just one part of the audio, and we are looking for something more general, something which is giving us a complete idea, because that's what a summary actually means. So you should not select something which is exactly word to word similar to what is being said in the audio. Rather, it should be more general and specific. And Archie is asking about highlight correct summary. I hope I've answered your question, Archie. And are there any other questions? No, we don't have any more questions. So Archie, it's again a low weightage task. As I said, it has got multiple options. So try to look for a more general option that should have, bits and pieces from start to end of the audio. Okay, not just one part of the audio. And moving on to the next question, it is called highlight incorrect words. This task is very, very important because it is an integrated task of your reading and of your listening, because you read and you highlight. It has got negative marking too. So guys, there are 2 tasks: multiple choice, multiple answers, and highlight incorrect words which have negative marking. So be very careful about both of them. You only get negative when you select the incorrect choice. And if you do not select anything incorrect, you don't get any negative. And we've got another question from Prabjot. Hi Prabjot. If we use backspace to correct our sentences in essay and summarize it, does it affect our score marks, and how to do the repeat sentences? Thanks. Prabjot, as I mentioned, that backspace key will affect your spelling score. So be careful. Try to avoid that. Okay. Every time you need to correct yourself, try to select it, cut it, or you can overwrite it. I know it's a little bit of hassle because we are we are more used to pressing the backspace key, but make sure when you are correcting a sentence or group of words, try to use cut command, or you can overwrite it. But for correcting just a word or so, you can always use the backspace. There is no hard and fast rule. Okay, it will not be heavily it will not heavily affect your scores, but try to avoid it. And about the repeat sentences, if you go to the first bit of our live session today, you will know how to do the task. Thank you. So guys, moving on to highlight incorrect words. Few words in the audio would be said differently than to what you actually hear. So make sure you highlight. You have to be very careful. Sometimes the audios are very fast, and sometimes some of the audios, they do have background noise or music which will distract you, and you can lose your concentration, or you might miss out a word or so. But it's, as I said, it's a high weightage task. Try to be more focused and try to move your cursor as you listen to the audio. Because if you move your cursor according to the audio, where the audio is going, you should be fine with this task. It's a very easy task. Moving on to the next question, which is called select missing words or beep question. In this task, you will hear a recording and few words towards the end of the recording will be replaced by a beep sound. You have 4 options or 5 options, and you have to complete your sentence. Again, it is similar to MCQ type of a question. You have multiple options. So again, it is a low weightage task. The last bit of the audio will most of the times gives you the answer, the correct answer. For example, you have to be careful about the tenses. If the lecture you are listening is in past, most likely the answer is also in the past. If the audio finishes with a connector and is a positive connector, so it would be a similar idea. If the audio ends with but, it's a negative connector, which could be a contrasting idea. Sometimes the last word from the answer is already said in the audio. So please make sure, especially towards the last bit of the audio, you keep your ears wide open. And moving on to the last question of listening module, it is called write from dictation, and I call it a bomb task because it's very, very important. It is an integrated task of your listening and your writing too. It gets you more than 40 marks, same like reading, read aloud, same like repeat sentences, same like fill in the blanks. It is, those 4 tasks are very, very important. And many times students do struggle because of the time. They don't finish this task. They're not able to finish the task. And if you miss out this task, it is very, very hard to score 7 or even 8, I would say. So guys, if you are after a band score of 8, you have to attempt all the questions, especially this task. Now in this task, you will listen to a sentence and you have to write exactly the same sentence. The most common question I get is that, ma'am, can we rephrase the sentence? No, you cannot rephrase the sentence. Try to write similar sentence. Guys, it is a software which is giving you marks. So a software can know that what you've written, what was actually said, it will match. So please be very careful. Do not rephrase. You have to be careful about the spellings. You have to be careful about the punctuation. You have to be careful about the tenses. And you have to be careful about the number of words. Another very common question we get is that for the years, for example, if the sentence says in 1940 something happened. So do we have to write 1940 in numbers, or can we write it as, alphabetically? How should we write it? If it is a long year, for example, 1940, you can use 1940. But if it is 100, then please make sure you write in alphabets, not 100. Okay, and make sure you finish the sentence with a full stop. Number of questions could be 2, could be 3, could be 4 also, depending on how many total number of questions you get, but generally they are 3. And if you practice repeat sentences, you are automatically practicing write from dictation. So guys, if you have any questions, that's all about all the sections of PT, all the questions. I hope you have a little bit of idea from this video about all the tasks, how you have to do and what you have to do in all the questions. If you have any questions about any specific task, please post it in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much. And guys, we've got a very exciting news. We've got a masterclass coming up on this Saturday. If you're struggling to get your scores, you're missing out your scores just by 1, 2 or maybe 10, 20 marks, whether your target is 6, 7 or 8, this is a 1-day crash course. If you are struggling with the time, you cannot afford to come to classes every day, this is a very good opportunity and platform where you can enroll yourself for the masterclass. It's a 1-day crash course. It's a 8-hour session for intensive details and strategies about all the 20 tasks of PTE. If your exam is around the corner, around New Year's or even the first week of January, I would really like you guys to go online and enroll for the masterclass, which will give you a good idea of how to perform and how to get your desired scores. Along with the masterclass, you also get 4 mock tests to practice, which can help you on time management. It can be scored as well, and it will give you and tell you where you actually stand and on which module you need to work hard on. Along with the mock tests, you also get some of the repeated real exam questions. Like I mentioned, the topics of essay, you will be getting solved essays and a lot of beneficial templates which you can use and get your desired scores. So if you are struggling, you can always go to PTE tutorials and enroll for masterclass, which is on 22nd of December, which is this coming Saturday. Or you can call on 0430 88 7072 for any further information. Thank you guys.